We call it hero A.
Hero A.
Yeah, hero A.
Hero A.
Yeah. Like you put your right hand first in front of you,
Okay.
and the left hand you need to get it longer, like
Hand?
like
Leg.
Well, I mean, you just do it, and we just.
Okay.
You can talk,
Okay.
describe it.
then you need to blend your knee as much as you can.
As much as.
But remember, your back foot needs to totally step on the floor.
What?
Yeah, your
Heel.
feet.
Heel.
Yeah, you need to totally
Heel.
step on the floor. You can't just like put your ankle up. You need to step it totally.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Then put your hand up.
Put your hand up. Put your hand
And
up.
clip up your hands. Like 3, 4, 5 breaths. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay.
Okay.
We are heroes.
That's all tired, right? Is it tired? Okay, then you did it properly. They don't do it properly.
Okay, let's welcome one for her 6th stage.
Okay. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Hi.
One day in 1890, 3,000 miles out of the coast of Chile, there are 20 American sailors watched their ship flooded with seawater. They were struck by a spoon wheels, which reaped a catastrophic cost on their ship's hull. So, as the ship started to sink underneath the swells, the crews they have to paddle together to get on the 3 small wheel boats. And this meant on 10,000 miles from home. And the nearest land for them is like 1,000 miles for them. So at that time, they just carry rudimentary navigational equipment and limited supplies of food and water with them. And these are the men of wheelship assets. Even in today's, this kind of situation will be really dire for us, and how worse it could be at the time. So think about that time that no person on land would know there's something got wrong, and no certain party would go for them. So how afraid they might be. And we know, even we didn't experience this kind of situation, we still know how fears feel like. And we know how it's like to be afraid. But I wonder if we really spend enough time to think about what fear really is. As we grow up, we are always encouraged to think fears as weakness. It is like childish things need to be discarded, like our baby teeth. And we always like to tell one another, don't worry, don't panic. Somehow, fear is like something we need to conquer, we need to fight, and we need to overcome. But what if we think as fear in a fresh way? What if we think fear as an amazing act of imagination? That it is something that is as profound and insightful as storytelling itself. Now let's move back to the time 1890. Now we can imagine these crews, they are still on the Pacific drifting. And 24 hours have passed since the ship has sink. So now they have to make out a plan, but they have just very few options. The first option they can come up with is to sail to the nearest lands. The land is about 1,200 miles away. But they have heard some frightening rumors that these lands and other nearby have been populated by cannibals, which means that pictures after they got offshore, they will be murdered and being eaten for dinner. Also, there are other possible destinations, which was Hawaii. But given that season, the captain think they might face really severe storms during their way. So the best options was the hottest and the longest one. They have to sail 1,500 miles to stars in hopes to reach a bound of wings that can help them to put them toward the coast of South America. But during the way, they know that they will run out of their supplies of food and water. So, being eaten by cannibals, being battered by storms, or starve to die before landing. These are the fears that the crews come up with. But they have to choose what kind of fears they listen to. And as a result, this choices depends whether they can live or die. No, it's too serious. So that's take it as the easiest way. What if we think fear? We name fears as a different name. What if we take fears not just fears but stories? Because fear is actually stories. It's like, think about it. When we fear, we unintentionally make a story, and it is an ability that we all born knowing how to do so. Like fears and stories, they have same components, they have same architecture. Like all stories, fears have characters too. In fear, we are the character, and fear also have plots. They have beginnings, the middles, and the ends. It's like we board on the plane, and the plane take off, and the engine fail. Like all the stories, fears also focus our attention on one question that is important in our life and also important in the literature. What will happen next? So, in other words, fears make us think about the future. And by the way, humans are the only creature that are capable of thinking future in this way. Like, if an earthquake strikes tonight, I might used to worry, what will happen to my house? What will happen to my family? And the answer to these questions are the fears, are also the storytelling. Those fears makes the form of the story. And so if we think the fear is stories, so why don't we just take ourselves as the author of these stories? But we need to read these stories in a right way. If we take fears as a gift of inspiration and a way of glimpsing the future, that we still have time to influence the future that might play out. And if we properly read, the future can be as precious as all the literature we like. It can give us some wisdom, a bit of insight, and the version of the most elusive things, the truth, TME.